Welcome to the Lightworker podcast. I am your host, Natalie Ubl Grant. I am a Lightworker, a meditation facilitator, Reiki master, and a health and wellness enthusiast who thrives on helping people. Connection is my superpower, and I just love bringing people to a space where transformation can occur. Are you looking for information on being a Lightworker? Are you a Lightworker and just love collecting knowledge from other Lightworkers? Then this is exactly where you need to be right now. Spirit has brought you here for a reason, and my hope is that this podcast will offer some new information and insights that will help you on your journey. I am here to help you connect and grow on your true path as a Lightworker. Today on the Lightworker podcast, I am joined by Amanda Dyer, the founder of Celtic Rose Academy. Amanda works in the feminine arts, supporting women to reconnect with their bodies, their cycles, and their inner knowing through womb healing and ancestral wisdom. Her work is deeply embodied, practical, and grounded in lived experience. Amanda shares about her own personal pilgrimage to her ancestral roots. This is a deep conversation about awakening authenticity and coming home to your true authentic self. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just going to start wherever we're at. I'm going to make the tea.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is abundance. Well, let's just make sure that.
Is that ginger?
It is one of Tara Hegarty's teas.
Beautiful.
It's a frequency tea, and it. When I asked this morning, "What are we drinking?" That's what we're drinking.
Yeah, beautiful.
Here's a couple for you. Here's a couple for me. Cheers.
Cheers.
And welcome back to the cave, the studio, the space.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time.
It's been years. I'm back home.
You're back home. Oh, and I'm really excited to be able to share you and what you're doing and your story of awakening. And just so you all know, I don't really prep anyone before they come. I don't say, oh, this is what I'll be asking you or anything like that, because I want this to be off the cuff. I want this to be real. I don't want you to be rehearsed, because I really, truly believe then your authenticity shines through. And I think that that's what's magnetic about the world we're in now, is people finding their own authenticity and really being able to sit in their hearts. And I've really enjoyed watching your journey, because I get to follow her on Instagram and all the rest of it, because years ago she sat in this room and learned Reiki.
Yeah.
So Amanda, introduce yourself. What does Amanda do these days?
Oh, I've evolved a lot since then. So I work in the feminine arts.
Yes.
And I help women become more confident, have unwavering confidence in themselves, not searching outside of themselves. And I help them to accept the phase of life that they're in, outside of society conditioning and programming, to have radical self-acceptance and, to reclaim the power of the divine feminine. But to also balance the masculine too. So I have been doing a lot of work with the masculine now, of course, because you can't have one without the other. It needs to be a balance. So but I had to go through the divine feminine path, and now work with the right hand as well. So it's been a big journey.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when we're going into our internal experience and we're discovering that we're not really liking our outside world, not really enjoying what the world is kind of reflecting back to us. That, I believe, is what pushes people onto what we would call a spiritual path. Other people might call it something else, self-discovery, personal development. The language we use is different depending on the circles you hang out with.
Yeah.
And I'm past the point of needing to have arguments about what you want to call it. Yeah. But something happens to us and we hit this space in our lives where we're looking around thinking, is this my life? Is this what I've created? Is this all there is? And then that ends up being the fuel to propel you on to the next adventure.
Yeah.
I'll call it an adventure. But for some people, it's not an adventure. It's very painful and very difficult, you know. Yeah. And what I do know about your path, and if you're willing to share it, was that you went through a painful experience of self-realization as you kind of opened the opportunity for the universe to show you what you needed to see, to be able to be feeling what you needed to feel, that has then ultimately led you to being able to help other people discover themselves.
Yeah.
And I want you to know I see you, because it's not easy. This spiritual path that people go on, they think it's going to be all sunshine and roses. And it's not, because it means you have to have radical self-realizations. You have to radically look at you as being the center of your universe and how you are creating it. And watching you, I think you've done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question is, when did your awakening begin and what was the catalyst?
Just as you're speaking there, I'm getting so emotional. I'm reflecting back the past.
Yeah.
And the journey. The catalyst was the descent into the underworld. I would call it an internal hell.
Yeah.
I couldn't see a way out. I was questioning everything. But it was COVID 2020.
Yep.
Like a lot of other people. Lots of people had big awakenings then.
It's the most transformational time for every human on the planet.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what your decisions or choices were. What matters is that you were aligning to your right path, I believe.
Yeah, I had the inner knowing, this intuition that was activated in 2020. For me, my awakening was like, I would almost call it spiritual psychosis. It was like a natural Kundalini awakening that my human body was not prepared for.
Yeah.
And I started to become obsessed with the curiosity that I was receiving and the messages I was receiving. And I started to feel my body again, because my body was so shut down. Yeah.
You can feel that.
Yeah, I was so asleep. I was so disempowered. I trusted everybody else but me.
Yeah.
I gave my power to everyone, to the doctors, to my parents, I was a people pleaser. I was just a robot.
Yeah.
I was young. I was just trying to survive with the tools I had, which weren't many. I had none except for prescription drugs and doctors and psychologists, because I had depression and anxiety. And I was also a highly functioning alcoholic for 23 years. And I continued drink. That was the last thing that I had to purify and to dissolve. That was the last thing for me. And it was the hardest, because it was a long addiction, and it was a society, and it was also a intergenerational addiction.
It's a huge one.
It was passed down.
Yeah.
And yeah, what I'm noticing now is, so basically I had this huge awakening, and it led me to this path of healing, and I was Catholic before, and I kind of like put that aside. I didn't really resonate so much with the church anymore.
Yeah.
And I was just exploring. I was just really curious as to like listening to other people's stories, like without judgment, just listening to like Hindu cultures and different types of Christian sects. And then I discovered Reiki, and I just started to learn. My mind was open.
Yeah.
I was like just like a sponge, soaking it all up and just kind of taking bits and pieces that felt good in my body, because I could feel my body again.
Amazing.
And my body was like, oh, no, that's just, nope, this is right. So it was like an internal knowing that was activated. And it was actually a remembering for me. There was so much remembering.
Yeah.
Not from my mind. It was like, my soul, the impressions that I had received in past lives and interdimensionally in other realities and timelines were all merging into one, and I was becoming whole.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what holy is integrating all of your facets and integrating all parts to become pure and whole again. Yeah. It's been a wild journey.
Yeah. Because at each stage, there's definitely a stage, I believe, that you've got to hit. In order to get to what you would call the holy state. I call it full awareness, full awake, full presence. Everyone's got different terminology for this stuff. So if you're hearing this and you're judging the wording that either of us use, pause. Right? Because deep in your own heart, you'll have your own terminology for what we're talking about. And I feel like we're at that stage right now as humans where, like you say, you can feel it in your body. This feels right. This is what it is for me. This is the language I have to use so I understand it. But in that journey of reading and being listened, like being willing to hear and listen to other teachers, helps you to find that thread in you, right?
For sure.
Helps you to feel this is in alignment, that isn't. But that's okay, you go do that. But I can't do that. I've got to do this. Yeah?
For sure.
And you do hit the stages. Tell me what I would call the frenzy zone, right? What was that like for you, or the born again vegan phase, right? The phase where you think, I have found the thing that is going to help everybody and you need it. Do you recognize what I'm saying?
I do.
Tell me what that phase was like.
I like how you describe that, because I've never heard anyone describe it like that or ask this question. And I feel lit up in my solar plexus. It's just
You recognize it's truth, right? And I have witnessed so many people be in that phase, and they are sharing from that phase, which they need to, because that's part of our growth, part of our learning, part of our really igniting our heart energy. So I'm interested to know, where were you when you hit your frenzy? What were you sharing that just everyone needed to know about?
Well, as you know, Nat, I have always been obsessed with the elemental spirits. And the plants, and communing with them through telepathy, not through ingesting so much, but more through connecting without the mind, just with the heart coherence. And I have been obsessed with the Fae and folklore and mythology for my whole life.
Probably since you were little.
Little girl.
I used to talk to the fairies when I was little.
And like the mermaids. Mermaids and the fairies for me. And I had to go through this. For some reason, the Celtic Wheel of the Year kept coming to me after I was attuned so like 4 years ago, the Celtic Wheel of the Year, and I was just drawn to it. I didn't know why.
Yep.
I had no idea, and no one knew. I kept talking about the Celtic Wheel of the Year, and everyone was like, "What's that?" You know?
Yeah.
And then I started to educate myself and learn through books and, just looking online about the Sabbats and the celebrations. And I realized that the four elements, the main ones, earth, air, fire, water, are connected to the elemental genies, they call them. They're like a spiritual deity.
Yes.
So in the element of the east, for example, it's the connection to the fae. And I realized that I had missed a whole rite of passage, and I was staying in this toxic young maiden. Even though I'm 40, I was trying to hold on to this old version of this identity of the party girl, this persona that I created, the fun girl. I'm the fae. I'm the one that likes to have a good
Carefree.
time. Yeah, she's a good time.
Yeah.
But I realized that that's not me. That was not me. And I think that I know that when I actually initiated myself and I went through and gave myself the rite of passage of motherhood, I had to go back and do processes myself.
Yeah.
But I realized that the fae, when I first started this work, people called me the fae, the fairy one, the fairy of the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was literally the energy that I was embodying.
Yeah.
And I had to embody it in a healthy way when I gave up the grog, because I had to integrate the healthy maiden into my being. And so I would play around like a young child as a middle-aged woman.
Yeah.
But I would bring my kids into it, and I brought in a lot of joy into spirituality and healing. So for me,
I attended one of these
yes,
events.
yeah.
We flipped ribbons around, and it was
Yeah.
amazing. And yes, you
Yeah.
embodied it.
I had to really, embody the maiden.
Yeah.
And that was a phase of my work where I had to go through that, and I
Yeah.
don't do that anymore. Sometimes I do, but
Yeah, you
not
don't need
this
to.
work. Yeah.
Because your business grows with you.
Yes.
Your spiritual path grows with you.
Yeah.
When you step into soul work, it's different to normal businesses.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. It's so attached to your identity.
Yeah, it is. And just your heart, what your heart wants.
Mm.
And then your growth happens with it.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So that phase when you're in there, sharing with everyone elemental stuff, being playful, do this and your life will get better.
Yeah. And I couldn't meditate. So dancing for me was my medicine.
Yeah.
Because I loved being at the clubs. I loved being, like, I was the disco queen,
I
was into, toxic things and validation and all of that. So when I was bringing it in a healthy way, I was bringing in dance, but from an embodied place. Like, I was moving how my body wanted to move, not how I thought it looked.
Yes.
Like, I want to look sexy or whatever. It was like, no, my body's moving how it needs to move now.
Yeah.
And it was just the most healing thing to actually look at these 4 rites of passages.
Beautiful.
And then once I did that, I stopped drinking. I just stopped drinking.
Didn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So
because that's something, right, that I'm not sure people really realise. And if you do, fantastic. If you don't and you hear this, when you want to get rid of something, it never goes.
Yeah.
But when you're ready for it to be your teacher and it to show you something, which what you're describing is you needed to know this Celtic wheel. You needed to know the cycles of a woman. You needed to be actually embodied as a woman because that's your path. And like you said, you were stuck in the maiden, the toxic maiden. And so to bridge that, this was part of the path. And then because you're a teacher, you're going to pull people with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing I find interesting as well is I've been a makeup artist for 23 years.
Yeah.
And I still do makeup. I do boudoir photography, makeup, and yeah, to actually like still be in that work, but to help women realize that you don't need the mask. But I did need the mask when I was little. I needed I needed the, I was using it in a really toxic way. So now, because I've seen the dark side of the maiden, I can actually sit with the maiden without judgment because she's still within me. I can feel her.
Yeah.
And I really just would love to have women not need those external things to feel beautiful, like the alcohol, like the makeup, like all those things. And it's great for the fun, to have a bit of play, but to feel confident and beautiful without needing the mask, and I feel like that's really helped me because I couldn't even leave the house without makeup on at one point,
Yeah.
So it's like this full circle of I've seen the polarity, I've gone through that, and so I can sit with you in that darkness.
Yeah.
I've been there. I get it.
You get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's one of the things as when you support people, if you have experienced it, you will support somebody in a very different way to somebody who hasn't ever experienced it, which is the bit that I'm finding really interesting about watching what I would call a spiritual leader kind of as we're being birthed, because 10 years ago, there wasn't the amount of what I would call a spiritual leader, particularly on the Sunshine Coast, because this is where our wheelhouse is, probably in other parts of the world. But the variances now, the different paths that you all walk and the different teachings that you all offer speak to the people that need to hear that through that language base or that experiential life path that you've led. Because then you can speak from authority as opposed to what you think.
Yeah, or what you learned in the book.
What you read in a book. Because when we've read something in a book, it's a very different feeling to embodiment. To actually have had the lived, known, felt experience of what it is to really know a person with that path.
Yeah.
And it's just my belief, but I don't think that people can really help someone unless they've experienced it.
Yeah.
They might be able to help them a little bit, but potentially not as much as, or it might not land as hard as somebody who has a lived experience with it, that has healed. That is not still coming from their own traumas.
Yeah, from their own wounds.
Because they're still processing, but even in those situations, we're all still just a little bit further ahead than somebody that's only just coming out of that amnesia or insomnia or whatever you want to call that, where you are a people pleaser and you're trying to do what everyone else is telling you to do instead of listening to your own soul. Yeah. And it's like, right now, there's just so many different spiritual teachers out there that if you can find the one that is aligned for you, you will get what you need. And that's the trick, is to get people to pause.
For sure.
Go to their own heart and ask, who is for me?
Yeah.
Who do I need to see that's going to actually help me on my path? And that can be a really weird path.
It can.
If you reflect on your own path, who have your teachers been?
Yeah. And some of them haven't been good, but some of them I've had to go through that as well to experience the dark side of things in order to, come out. And sometimes you need that polarity to see the opposite end.
Well, you won't know not to do it unless you've experienced
it.
So I see those teachers as equally important.
They are.
So they're not doing something wrong. They're actually fully standing in their role as that teacher to show you what you're not going to do.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I honor that. Thank you for showing, because I've had teachers like that. So thank you for showing that, and then that's going to be incentive for me to go even deeper into my heart, to come from my authenticity, you know?
Yeah.
And then to trust that even when I show up that way, because you ultimately become a mirror, when you're working with people, they might see in you something that you totally don't see. Do you know?
Yeah.
So even those beautiful teachers that have taught us shadow, for other people will be a complete light.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Absolutely.
Because it really depends on how we are showing up in that moment with that person that's mirroring back to us what we need to see in ourselves.
Yeah.
So that we can grow.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hopefully I haven't lost everyone.
No, yes. It's all perfect, actually. It is. And sometimes you don't know at the time because it can be a really bitter pill to swallow.
Yes.
Or bitter medicine, but it's like you had to go through that in order to be where you are right now.
I think what it shows us I can speak from my own experience. What it shows me or showed me was just how toxic our upbringing for communication with each other has been. Because our only go-to is to judge that person as being bad or wrong, you know? And I know for me, it wasn't until I fully got into this practice of embodying being in the present moment and actually asking myself all the time, what is here for me? What am I learning here? How is this person a teacher for me? Which is like the fourth principle of Reiki. Everyone's a teacher, right? So it's like when I started really doing that and I started noticing, oh, there's a part of Nat that likes to blame these people, you know?
Yeah.
And you realize, because then I witness it in everyone, we all have been trained to do that, to compare, to judge, to criticize, to blame, to shame, instead of turning the torch back on ourselves and going, what is here for me? And how do I honor myself in this moment?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's because it disconnects us when we're looking at people like outside of us, like they're wrong, I'm right, I'm good, they're bad.
Yeah.
And so it's I totally get it. Yeah.
It's like, it's huge. It's a really huge thing to have that realization, to then be able to step into that next phase where genuinely you are embodied in understanding that everybody is your teacher, that everyone that walks across your path is your teacher, and that even as teachers, we've got students that are reflecting things back to us that we might not enjoy seeing in ourselves, but we have to then look at ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
So
right. That's the medicine.
It's how we keep growing.
Yeah.
It's how we keep finding presence, finding our soul connection, and finding our hearts. I love that your journey has been to really explore the divine feminine and to really, really embody the cycles. Because I really don't think enough women have had access to that knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can even talk for myself, right? So it's been part of my journey to learn those cycles as well in my own way. You do womb massage, right? Or womb healing? Yeah. So I've, my first port of call was to have a womb massage. And it's like, what is she going to do to me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your brain goes there. And I've had her on one of the earlier podcasts. That was Tanya. So, and that's such an interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
But that was a huge thing to start getting connected into that cyclicness of being feminine.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it is a biological thing. You know, it's your actual physical body that needs attention. You know, it needs you to pay attention to it, because a lot of the time we're only focusing on the spiritual side of things or the energy side of things when we're in this sort of world. But I've learned that we've got to we've got to bring the body with us.
Yeah.
We can't just leave the body behind. We can't keep playing with alcohol and trying to get rid of it. We can't keep wearing a mask and pretending that what's looking back at us is not what's looking back at us, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, as you've discovered this feminine side of yourself, and yes, you're starting to bring in the balance of the masculine, like, what was a big takeaway for you personally?
Yeah, so I felt that I did a lot of ascension work, and when I woke up, and I was very, even though I was out of my body at the beginning,
Yep.
and
Which seems to be part of another phase.
Yes.
We actually just want to get out of here.
Totally,
That
yeah.
it's too painful, too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would call that what? Ascension work?
Ascension.
Where you're just
Yeah.
meditating.
Yep.
You're
It was escapism.
describe it.
Yeah, it was definitely escapism.
Yep.
But I had a lot of physical pain in my body, because this is what happened when I had my awakening, my pain. I had a lot of lower back pain, which is very symbolic for the cycles and all of that as well, which I'll get into soon. But yeah, I had a lot of physical pain, and I was escaping, even though I wasn't, so I was still drinking when I was trying to do the ascension work, but I was connecting more to the, I guess, the heavenly realms, more of the upper chakras. Yeah. And I kind of forgot about the body.
Yes.
So I did a lot of descension work. I went back down. And then, of course, when you go down, you connect to the Divine Mother. So the Heavenly Father, the Divine Mother, the Earth Mother, and the womb.
Yes.
And I was in, again, I've had, so since my first awakening in 2020, I had another one which I call a womb awakening.
Yes.
And that happened in 2023.
Yep.
And that was end of 2022. It was a huge, I think, yes, you came to this. I was still running retreats, events. I was still working. I was still drinking. I was still in a lot of physical pain. Yes. But I was doing the ascension work.
Yeah.
And I was actually healing. Yeah. And it was all perfect.
Of course it is. It's part of your path.
Yeah.
It's what gets you to where you're going.
Yeah.
You have to do it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then I went into the body.
Yes.
And it was like,
hello, body.
The pain.
Yeah.
So I was in a really dark place. My marriage was crumbling. My whole life started to fall apart. Everything I thought I knew, I didn't know anymore.
Yes.
I thought I was right, and then I'm like questioning everything.
Yes.
This is where I started to really, come into the cyclical nature of the menstruation cycle, and then I started to learn about cycles outside of this body and in the earth body.
Yes.
So I learned about womb portals on the earth and sacred sites, and then I learned about cosmic wombs, and I started just going into full-blown research mode. Yeah, good. But also, it wasn't
another frenzy zone.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
This is it. Oh, and this is the Fae. This is the Fae. So from here, so I was in the Fae.
Yes.
This cycle. Then I went into the mother cycle, which is the dragon. Yes. Literally burning everything to the ground.
Absolutely.
It was like purifying everything. Because I felt, in a way, and I reflect back now, and I know that there was an element of me that was still in quite a lot of trauma when I first started the work. I was trauma bonding, and I learned a lot, but I thought I was there, but I actually wasn't, like looking back now. So I started studying counseling because I wanted to really feel more anchored and embodied with like tangible accredited tools. Yeah. So I learned about suicide prevention because I was having clients that were obviously mirroring me. So my
so interesting
coming in, and they were heavy, like they were experienced rape, DV, suicide, phone calls, suicide. I'm like talking to my friends, and they're saying, "Gee, Amanda, you're really getting the hard ones," and I'm like, I don't know why. I wonder why.
It's preparing you, and it's helping you to move that energy through your body.
Yeah.
That's why it happens. We always have clients that reflect whatever it is deep in us. It's ready to be brought to the light.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right. And it was such a perfect part of the process of going into the mother.
What I love hearing though is that when you hit the space where you're like, I don't know what to do, you go and learn.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I went and
it's funny because around the same time I went and did the suicide prevention course as well, because I'm like, I need to just really check if there's any fear left in this body, you know, and also just to know that what you've done for years is actually helping and not hindering, you know, because we're all just humans, you know what I mean, relating with other humans. And I mean, we learn to stay in our own energy, and that I'm not responsible for your feelings. I'm not responsible for what's happening for you. However, I can make it worse for you if I pour my stuff on you. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I learned a lot of that through just the practice of Reiki and facilitating for lots of people for a long, long time. And you learn on a job.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
But then it's nice to backfill.
Yeah,
you know, to just go and hang out in these other places and go, oh, okay, cool, you do that, and this is the language you use.
Yeah,
great.
Check.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
it's really
what did it do for you? Did it give you confidence, like, so that you kind of knew, yes, what I'm doing is helpful? Or
absolutely. I'm a really good listener, and I think that my clients could tell that I can just hold them and really see them. And sometimes I wouldn't even say much.
You don't need to.
I would just hold them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they've never been seen or held before in that way, in that depth.
Yeah.
So I felt that it was a blessing in a way, that the darkness that I had gone through has been my greatest teacher, and it's helped me be a great teacher because I see and feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you beyond what I've learned through counseling or through Reiki. I'm connecting to your soul.
It's a soul connection that ends up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that I really needed the counseling tools to kind of come back grounded. I felt like I was, in the ascension, and I really had to come back into my body. And this is where the moment happened of the womb awakening.
Yeah.
Was I was in a lot of pain. The drinking was amplified. Everything was falling. I had this dream, but it wasn't a dream.
No. And if you've ever had one of those, we know what they're like.
Yeah. I was praying, and I started to connect back to Mother Mary.
Yeah.
She was coming to me, but not in the way that I learned at the church.
Which is interesting
in
itself.
Yeah.
Can you expand a little bit? How did she come to you?
She was showing me the purity of the womb and womb work. And when I was initiated with the 13th rite of the womb, because after I did the Reiki, I had the womb awakening. I'm like, right, I need to find someone that can help me with the womb.
Absolutely.
So then I was initiated with the Shibibo rite of the womb, which is the South American lineage. And I loved it, but I didn't resonate with it because I felt like there's something missing. Where's my lineage?
Interesting.
Where's my blood?
Yeah.
My ancestors migrated here just after the First Fleet. No one's interested in our bloodline. A lot of women and men are going to lineages that aren't theirs.
Yeah.
From this lifetime.
Yes.
Sometimes they're called because of past lives and soul connection and things, but I felt like this deep embodiment and grounded energy of like primordial nature.
So you had to go.
Yeah.
You had to find.
Yeah. So
your lineage.
My grandmother came in and she showed me Mother Mary. She came into. I was in the hospital room in my dream. So my grandmother came in, and she came in with Mother Mary. And she looked at me and she said, "You're killing yourself." And I looked at my skin and I was all yellow from the alcohol poisoning, because she was an addict as well. And so was my great-grandmother and my mother. So my whole family, my dad's actually got liver cancer right now and terminally ill from alcoholism. So It was in my blood, and I knew that I had to do the lineage work.
Yeah.
And it was beyond me then. It had nothing to do with me. And yeah, she came and she showed me, and I woke up, and then I just thought, oh my God, I need to stop. And I stopped. I stopped drinking. And then a few days later, I had this other dream that I was somewhere in a field with lots of sheep and a few lions in the fields. And I was digging up dead bodies. It sounds so morbid. I'm actually...
I have weird dreams too, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
We just roll with it.
Yeah.
Because it's showing you something, and that's the main thing, right?
Yeah.
And if you can stay out of judgment, you'll actually get the info that they want to show you.
Yeah.
So you're in the field.
Yes.
What happened? You're digging up dead bodies.
I'm digging up the bodies and putting them in the car. And at this point, I was doing the womb work, but I was like, but where's my lineage? But in the dream, the bodies were coming into my car. Then I started to drive down the highway. The police pulled me over, and I looked around me, and there were sheep everywhere, and there were a few lions, and I was just kind of telling the police that I'm taking these bodies with me on this journey. And then I woke up, and I said, I need to go to my ancestors. I need to step back onto the land where they left 200 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
I need to plant my feet, plug it into the earth, and I need to heal my lineage.
Yeah.
So to me, the dream was like digging up my ancestors and carrying them with me. Then I get to the UK. I haven't been to Europe since I was 19. And I thought, how am I going to get to the UK? How am I going to do this pilgrimage?
Yes, universe, show me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, I was inherited money from the ancestors.
Wow.
I had no idea how this was going to happen. It just happened.
That brings us to the end of part 1 of my conversation with Amanda Dyer. In part 2, we go even deeper into the ancestral lineage and the womb awakening, and what it really means to live spiritually through the body, not above it. So if this conversation stirred something in you, make sure to like and subscribe and join us next week for part 2 of this powerful journey. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you then.
The content found within these podcasts are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Nothing on this website is intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any physical or medical conditions. If you have any physical or medical conditions, you should seek the advice of your medical professional immediately.